This presentation outlines three aquatic habitat offset case studies. The first, from over 30 years ago, involved Ballina Shire Council building a new road north from Ballina, through mangroves and over North Creek. Ballina Council avoided some direct impacts by revising the planned road alignment. Remaining impacts were compensated with a mangrove habitat offset that was twice the size of the impacted area. Ballina Council worked with DPI fisheries and mangrove experts to choose a 5 hectare area of Crown land that had previously been cleared and filled to raise the ground level. The offset project began by removing the fill for a ground surface level suitable for intertidal vegetation such as mangroves and salt marsh. The fill material was reused in the roadway construction. The site was divided into areas for transplanted mangrove trees, planting seedlings, and propagules. The fourth treatment was left for natural recruitment, which has since proven to be the most successful and cost-effective method. The site has been studied in 1992, 96, 2014, and 2017 when Deakin University's Blue Carbon Lab investigated the amount and rate of blue carbon stored at the site. This work is being written up as a scientific article for a journal. The outcome of aquatic habitat offset policy decisions from over 30 years ago is an increase in habitat for fish, birds, bats, and improved water quality and carbon storage. The second case study is more recent and involves the Pacific Highway upgrade work in the Clarence River estuary. Road layout and design were selected to avoid direct impacts on important aquatic habitats. Techniques were developed to minimise other environmental risks. Remaining unavoidable impacts on marine vegetation, such as mangroves and salt marsh, were to be offset. Several different sites were proposed and then assessed by DPI Fisheries for the best in perpetuity outcome. It was agreed that the best aquatic habitat offset was a contribution to the acquisition of land neighbouring the Everlasting Swamp National Park. This is because the national park boundary does not match the extent of the Everlasting Swamp wetland, and this limits the ability to manage environmental and estuary-wide values. The offset rate is set by DPI Fisheries policy and guidelines. It requires a 2-to-1 offset to impact ratio and specifies dollar value per square metre. Offset outcomes that help wetland national parks match the natural wetland boundaries are a permanent and positive step toward improving environmental values within the wetland and water quality and other values throughout the estuary. The third case study is a small salt marsh offset north of Coffs Harbour. Bridge abutments of a proposed crossing of Cunningham's Creek would be directly impacting on salt marsh habitat. A nearby area of public land was an ideal salt marsh offset site. It was degraded with vehicle wheel ruts. A salt marsh rehabilitation plan was prepared for the area. It exceeded the 2-to-1 offset ratio required by the DPI fishery policy and guidelines. A financial bond and a 5-year regime of monitoring were also required to ensure the on-ground outcome of salt marsh rehabilitation was achieved. Rehabilitation involved blocking cars and bikes from driving on the salt marsh. This enabled natural regeneration, which has been successful over some of the site. Salt marsh planting also occurred, but this has been less successful. Yearly monitoring reports are regularly assessed, and if after 5 years the offset is successful, the bond will be returned. Reviewing offset case studies is a useful way to ensure offset habitats deliver fisheries and biodiversity values and provide other ecosystem services such as good water quality, carbon capture and storage, and cultural values. To learn more about how DPI Fisheries protects aquatic environments, visit the following sites.